Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys could please like, comment, and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Our spray booth is fully operational right now. It just got a city inspection last Friday and it passed with flying colors, by the way. The same inspector will be back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, to do the fire marshal inspection with the fire suppression company as well. I kind of wanted to catch you guys up to speed on the spray booth. It's kind of been a little while since I did an update on the install because we were kind of waiting so long for the fire suppression system to be installed, as well as just getting these permits and finalizing the last few things. So I'm going to start with the kind of where I left off. I think I left off on the exhaust fan was the last install that we did, but I think we are going to start off with the electrical and the fire suppression. The city does not allow you as an individual to install your own fire suppression system. Now, each city and state could be different, but this is actually national fire code, so I'm pretty sure it'll be the same pretty much no matter what you're doing. And honestly, if you don't do this for a living, I don't think you're gonna know what you're doing. There's a lot more to it than I ever would have imagined. That being said, this fire suppression system costs $10,000 to have a company put in. They required a 50% deposit to actually get you scheduled. So there's no real good way around it. And honestly, after watching 3 trained, experienced fire suppression guys from a company spend almost 2 full days installing this, I can see why it costs so much, as well as the rare parts and the parts that you can usually actually only get being a fire suppression company. You can't just go to Home Depot or Lowe's and pick up these parts. So I'm going to start out with the electrical. Now, I'm not an electrician, so I did have some help doing the electrical work. I did help a little bit, fish wire and pull some wire through the conduit and stuff, but so forgive me if I mistakenly say something wrong based on my experience and expertise on this subject. So right here we have our motor control box. This is actually kind of like a relay that you'd see in a car. This is what actually starts the motor. Now that's the switch to turn the motor for the exhaust fan on. Now down here is our light switch, and this is actually a service switch that we had to put in. So this service switch cannot be in the same box as the electrical on and off. So this actually is like a service switch, that way we can kill this power to the exhaust fan. So here's our lights, as you can see, and there's a reset on there. Here's our service switch on, and here is our exhaust fan on. So we'll go up there in a little bit and check that out, but I'm gonna flip that off now. Now, I used the flex. You might want to use the hard for a cleaner look, kind of as you've seen here, but this isn't electrical. This is actually a pole cable inside there, but similar idea. So if you look, we actually started out doing a pretty clean install, but as there's kind of like 3 different things that we had to wire up, and as time went on, it started getting a little bit messy. It's crossing. I still got a little bit of cleanup to do. Now I used these little square outlet boxes all across the booth, pretty much at every joint connection. I got 1/2-inch conduit, 1/2-inch clamps, as well as several spools of wire to run through. So honestly, I got thousands of dollars in just wiring material. Stuff adds up, guys, so be prepared for that. And bear with me, I'm not, like I said, I'm not an electrician, so I'm probably not saying the right things. You can see our light fixtures. These are 4 bulb LED light fixtures. They come pre-assembled from M-tek. They come with 2 mounts. Now, I actually had them send me a whole nother set of mounts. They're actually down there on the table. But I think that instead of 2 mounts, it should have 4 points. It should have 1 mount in each corner. So I had them send me an extra set. I actually asked for 2 sets. They sent me 1, but that's okay. They did it on the house, which was really cool. I don't think they really understood what I was trying to do. I was only asking for 2 extra sets because I already drilled holes for the center, so I thought, well, maybe I'll just have 6 points. It can't really hurt anything. to compress on my foam tape there that's against the glass. It seems to be fine with just the 2 mounts, so I don't think I'm gonna touch it. I could undo the center mounts and then put them in the 4 corners, but then I just have some holes, which it's not a big deal. It's just cosmetic things like that. But you can kind of see that we kind of have these junction boxes here that everything kind of tees off together. Now we use wire nut connectors inside there. Now, I'm a big guy, and it's actually pretty sturdy up here on top of the spray booth. I do try to walk where the ribs are for a little more strength, but as long as you're not jumping around, should be fine. Now here's our electrical motor for the exhaust fan. That's our exhaust fan, and here's the ducting. Now our electrical motor is, you can see, here's the wire. Like I said, I still have some cleanup to do as far as this wiring being more secure and attached, especially here where I'm kind of close to my drive belts. Now, one funny thing is M-tek sends you a belt cover for the drive motor to actually go over these belts. That's intended to, it's a box that you assemble and it goes over. With this rib, it hits. So unless I cut it, you can't really put it on. So then I thought, oh shoot, after looking at the image, they actually have this exhaust fan and drive motor set up right here. Now, I'm glad I didn't do it there because there's still a rib here, and there's a rib there, and there's a rib back there. So no matter how you position this drive motor, you can't get that box on without modifying it. Now, you could modify it, but honestly, it's not really gonna keep dust out. Dust is still gonna get in there. It's more just to keep debris out, or I mean, there's nothing gonna be up here. No one's gonna be up here. If you're up here, chances are you're gonna flip the service switch, flip a breaker before you service those belts anyway. And it's just more stuff to take off. So honestly, guys, I don't really see the purpose of putting that belt cover on. So I'm just gonna skip it. I am gonna keep it just in case I ever decide that I want to. You can see that these bolts are the tensioning bolts, and these bolts are the mounting bolts. So you actually loosen up these bolts right here, and you can actually tighten these in and draw this plate, the mounting plate, out, and that's what puts tension on these belts. Now you do want to make sure that these belts are even and parallel, and it's kind of easy to tell. You can use a tape measure and measure this distance right here, these slotted holes. You want the distance to be the same to ensure that that plate is mounted level and your drive belts are driving right. Now you can see more junction boxes right there. Now I'm just going to kind of show you guys on the back side of the spray booth. We did leave about 1.5 feet of room. You can see where we kind of pulled out of that junction box down there, which used to be an old 220 outlet. We just actually got rid of the outlet, and we put a block off plate on there, and we just went straight out of that to power this. Actually had half our wiring done, which our breaker box is back there. Luckily I already had a pull of 220 already to here that we could utilize, which was nice. So as you can see, we kind of aren't really quite finished with securing the lines, but over here on this side there's not as much going on, just pretty much the lighting. So you can just kind of see that we just kind of have it tied and kind of hidden up on the top. So honestly, when you go to do this, I do suggest kind of laying it out and kind of thinking it through, and trying to end up with a product that's a little bit cleaner than that. I could always clean it up more. It's not a big deal, it's just cosmetic. It passed inspection, so I'm not too worried about it. So just something to think about if you're into cosmetic reasoning like me. While we're up here, I'm gonna go over the fire suppression system. Now, I'm not a fire suppression installer, so I don't know everything about this stuff, but what I do know is they have some black pipe right here, and you can see the black pipe right there. Now there's 4 nozzles inside the spray booth. Those 2 nozzles actually shoot right through the intake box. I'm gonna take out this filter, and you can see that it actually just shoots through there, and the nozzle's mounted down there inside the booth. They've spaced that evenly. These 4 nozzles go to this pipe, which go down to that PCI 70 bottle. You can see there's 2 more nozzles inside there. Now there's one below your fan and one above your fan. another cable in there that actually is an automatic trap. It's got a little fusible link. Now when it gets to a certain temperature, it breaks and that cable snaps tight. I'll show you guys when I get in there. So I'm gonna crawl down. Now those two nozzles are on a completely separate PCI 17 tank down below on the back side. Here is the PCI 70 tank. It's mounted to the booth itself. It's got special mounts. Here's that black pipe that feeds those 4 nozzles. Here's the pull station that goes up and over. You can see how it goes up and over. Now that's the manual pull station. Now, this is another pull station. Now when this cover gets put on like that, you can actually pull this pin, you can grab this lever and you swing it 90 degrees, which will also set this system off. Now I'm gonna show you guys that in a minute. Now behind my spray booth, I have that second PCI 17 bottle back here. Now that bottle is the one that feeds the exhaust fan alone. Now feeds one above and one below the fan. You can see all our LED lighting's lit. Very bright. Lighting is well placed. And very impressed with the lighting, it's perfect. You can see the 4 nozzles, 2, 3, and 4. They got covers on them right now. Now those covers just keep debris out in the meantime. Now when the system gets set off, those will actually pop off. Now here's the automatic pulls. Kind of hard to see, but there's actually a little tiny green fusible link. If you even hold a lighter up to that for even 2-3 seconds, it'll snap. So you want to be careful not to catch that with anything as well. So there's 2 of them there. Here's our other 4 nozzles, which go through the intake box. Now inside the exhaust, I'm just gonna reach in there. Now inside the exhaust, you can see there's another fusible link in the center there. Now it moves around a little bit when the exhaust is on, but it won't snap. They promised it wouldn't. There is 2 nozzles up there, one below and one above the fan, just like I said. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is there's 2 access doors, one below and one above the fan, that are tech screwed in. They had to cut 2 holes there. Those 2 access doors are there for them to service and inspect the system annually, twice a year. So twice a year, they're gonna take those doors off and they're actually gonna take a look in there and just inspect and make sure everything's still intact and everything looks to be in workable condition. One of the most complex things of this whole system now is it has to be wired in to where when this system gets set off, it kills power to your exhaust fan and to your air compressor motor that's feeding air into the booth as well. So inside this control head, there are 2 micro switches. Now these have to be wired in. Your average electrician probably can't do this. It's motor control. Now when those micro switches get engaged, that's an alarm and strobe that gets set off as well while killing power to your spray booth motor and your air compressor motor. That way it's not feeding the booth with more air. I'm gonna show you guys how this system works. So this is a little CO2 cartridge. We're not inspected until tomorrow, so this doesn't get put in until tomorrow. I'm not gonna put this in, the fire suppression company is gonna put this in. This gets put into there, it threads into this where this little blue cap is. Now, this system's set kind of like a mouse trap right now. The 2 pull stations can engage that. The automatic ones inside can engage that. Now, we're not even hooked up right now, so I'm not worried that we're actually gonna set this system off. This is just for testing reasons. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my spray booth on, just like we were using it. Now, let's say a fire does happen. It's out of control, I can't get it out. It's getting hot in there, it gets set off. Now, what's gonna happen is I'm either gonna run out here and pull this pull station or it's automatically gonna get set. When that happens, this cable, which is attached to our manual pull station out there, pulls tight and that's gonna go up. When that happens, this pin comes down, it's gonna puncture the CO2 tank. That's gonna put pressure in this valve right here. Now this valve is a 10-second valve. It takes 10 seconds to put the CO2 pressure through this line, which is gonna open this, which is gonna feed the booth with a dry chemical. That's a 10-second valve, and when that 10 seconds, when you're waiting for that 10 seconds to happen, that alarm and strobe will be going off in case you're blind or in case you can't hear. Now, also, it's gonna shut the air compressor motor off and the exhaust fan power off. So I'm going to show you guys a little example right now of when it happens. So when that happens, it's actually going to hit this micro switch as well. So I'm just going to test this. There's two micro switches, one in the front, one in the back. The front set, that's for the exhaust fan. The back set, that's for my compressor motor. Now I'm just going to touch it right now for a second. See my exhaust fan shut off. I don't know if you guys can see the strobe flashing, but I'm sure you guys can hear it buzzing, but that's the alarm. I let go, alarm stops, fan keeps going. It's pretty high tech. Now I'm not gonna show you guys that with my compressor because it's not actually going right now, but you guys get the idea. We're gonna go ahead and set this off. So if this cable were to pull tight, this would pull up. So boom, just like that. You can see it punctured that. You got 10 seconds to get the hell out of there. Your alarm's going off, your strobe's going off. Let's go over and look at that. Just like that. So, bear with me for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of reset this. So, I'm gonna come over here and shut the fan off. And there's our service switch. And there's our lights. It's pretty high tech, guys. The motor control is a whole nother level. So if you guys got any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer what I can, and if I can't, I will refer you guys to someone who can. Now there's a company that's actually national called Barker Fire and Safety. They're the ones who installed this system. They know about installing this system, and I do recommend them. They were easy to work with. It was a little pricey, but after they broke down the cost, it really wasn't all that bad. So you get what you pay for, guys. This is a state-of-the-art system. They were very professional putting it in. They did a clean install. I stressed to them I didn't want any extra holes, and they did a pretty nice job. I shopped around a lot. I honestly had to call in about 25 companies. I got 2 companies that got a hold of me. One that sent me an estimate, the other one blew me off. Honestly, Barker Fire and Safety, I do recommend them. As far as the wiring and the fire suppression, that's about all I got for you guys. Like I said, if you got any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. If you guys could please like, comment, and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it.